Hello and very welcome to classic skiing country in Norway for the sixth stop of the Ski Classics 2012, the Birkebeinerrennet. A race over 50 kilometers from the starting point here in Rena, the elite, and the 14,000 skiers will cross two mountain ranges, a distance of 54 kilometers, before they will cross the finishing line in Lillehammer, host of the 1994 Winter Olympics. Together with me here today is our experts, Andreas Johansson, and one of the skiers from Team Experience, Oskar Svärd. Very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Looking forward to the race?
Yes, when you see the pictures, you start feeling the nervousness, and you know they are really looking forward for the race now, and yeah, it will be interesting to also see it on television.
Andreas, it's a massive number of participants, and they will start in different waves, but it's a really tough first part with almost 13 kilometers uphill.
Yes, it is. And it's a challenge both for the top athletes, but of course for the amateurs as well. This is a very tough race.
And you also have to carry a rucksack of 3.5 kilos on your back. Oskar, you have done several races of the Birken. There is something extra with carrying that extra weight, isn't it?
Yes, I have trained sometimes without it and with it, and when I go an uphill, and when you take it away, you really feel the big difference. So it's tough, and especially for the lighter girls, this 3.5 kilo is quite much.
Can you describe for us what it's like to go this race? First that massive uphill hill part, and then going across the mountains, or the fjell as it's called here in Norway.
Yes, I have done 3 Birkebeiner, and I always think that the first part is the toughest one, and then when you come up, you stay in that group during the rest of the race, and then we have also one really tough 5-6 kilometer climbing up to Midtfjellet before it goes down to Lillehammer. So it's a tough race, really tough race, and 2.5 to 240, something like that maybe, and you really feel it in the body after the race.
If you compare this race to Vasaloppet, which you have won 3 times, that's over 90 kilometers. This is just 54 kilometers, almost half of it. But
it's not only half as tough. I think sometimes, Vasaloppet have many parts where you go down on the pulse a little bit, and you just stand there for double pulling. Here you have the first 13 kilometer nearly around 90% of the maximum, so you are more tired here in the start, and then so you can maybe compare the races, even if Vasaloppet is 1 hour longer.
There've been temperatures, it's plus degrees, it's 2 or 3 degrees over zero. There's been some minus during the night. Will that affect something, you think, Andreas, for the waxing?
Yeah, everyone will use grip wax, and because of the very tough terrain with a lot of uphill skiing, as we mentioned, but it will get quite warm during the day, so we won't expect the tracks to be extremely fast. So it will be quite tough, I think, for the athletes today, especially during the later parts of the race when it gets more and more wet in the snow.
There you saw the graphics of the course. It is almost, as we told you before, 13 kilometers uphill, and then it's a more flat part before the uphill section through Midtfjellet. Here we got a more detailed map of the race. Stanislav Resak had a wonderful season. He won here last year, and Sirana Bono won on the women's side. Resak, one of the favorites, of course, Oskar.
Yeah, he's always tougher in Birkebeiner, and he has won it many times. And he's a big skier, but with a big heart, and he always do well on these tough courses. And also he's good in the spring, in the end of the season. Some other skiers is maybe a little bit tired and so, but he goes on all the time. Now we can see it here on the television, and yeah, I think he will be one of the men in the top today.
2 sprint prizes as well at 9 kilometers at Skramstad, and then Kvalstad at 27 kilometers. How important are those, the sprint prizes?
I think it's more important to have a good position in the finish. But if you see on the sprint list so far, Rezek is in a really big lead, and I think maybe he already have won it. Here you can see it.
So Stanislav Rezek in the lead, Susanne Nyström on the women's side, and Team Extra Personnel is the leading team. They started last year this more of a team events as well. What do you think of them? Is it something that has brought an extra dimension to?
Yes, I think so. You don't only ski for yourself; you also ski for the team, and the 2 best men take point to the team competition, and also one girl. And it means that even if you not make your best race, you can be number 2 in the team, and you take points for the team also. So, and we will see for the future. I mean, look at Tour de France or like that. Maybe we don't come exactly to that level, but can we do something like that? It will be really good, I think.
Soon they will be off. The 14,000 skiers. You see the elite group at the front there, who will challenge for the victory here in the 74th edition of Birkebeinerrennet.
On the left we saw Laila Kveli, the girlfriend to Jerry Alin also, and she was number 2 in Vasaloppet, and she had done a really good season, so it will be interesting to see Laila in this kind of competition. She's a mother, and maybe she's a little bit stronger than the other.
Perhaps you should tell the story behind the extra weight that you carry as well. It's due to the Birkebeiner loyalists back in the 13th century, where Birkebeiner loyalists, to save the infant pretender to the Norwegian throne, Håkon Håkonsson. And the weight that the skiers carry symbolizes the weight of a 1-year-old child back then, in the 13th century, that is. So it's a long tradition of skiing in Norway.
Yeah.
A massive country on the cross-country side.
You also can see it on the race, especially in the end. There is a lot of Norwegian out on the fjell or in the mountain looking on the race. So it will be fun to see it today also.
Yeah, we discussed it earlier during the season, Andreas. With just imagine the World Championships in Holmenkollen, where Norwegian flags everywhere, and along the tracks as well.
Cross-country skiing is the national sport of Norway, and this is we're constantly the mecca of cross-country skiing, and
they're off for the 50 kilometers from Rena to Lillehammer, and it will be interesting to see this tough first uphill part, and what will happen there. There is a sprint prize at 9 kilometers at Skramstad, but that's not the end of the uphill part, because it's over 13 kilometers before they're up on the fjell, as it's called here in Norway. Taking the lead there is well, couldn't really see it.
Kjetil Dammen, I think, was the first skier there in the Team Extra personnel. he's done a good winter. He's one of the little bit younger skiers, and it will be interesting to see him today also.
We saw also, as usual, Rezak, and I think also Jörgen Brink was among the top skiers from the beginning.
Jörgen Brink, who 2 weeks ago became the oldest winner ever of the Vasaloppet, the crown, the jewel of the crown of these ski classic events, and also become the fastest.
Yeah.
Fastest time ever of 3 hours, 38 minutes and 41 seconds. So she will be forced to be reckoned with here as well.
I think Jörgen will be tough, and we remember last year his really good skis from Kuchen into the finish. And then you also can see Arne Post also in the Team United Bakery. He comes a little bit from the normal traditional skiing, and he's a strong uphill skier also, and we will see today. I think he will be one of the fastest in the uphill.
As I said before, they will start in different waves. The last start will go away approximately around 10:30 or something, and there actually has been a starting group before the elite, and that's the older women and men, isn't it?
Yeah, it's older women and men, and it's of course because they take a long time over the mountain, but it's also a little bit scary some part when we catch them up, and if it's some part here is quite hard downhill or difficult downhills, and if you come to the wrong place it can be a little bit dangerous. We will see it later on the race.
See the start again, but with this extreme tough uphill part, I can't imagine, Andreas, that someone will actually go unwaxed.
No, it's not Many or anyone at all. I think that will not be using grip wax today.
Would you even consider that?
No, I think it takes too much power from the arms and the over body to do it. And if the tracks have been really icy, maybe you can think about it. But then it's a very little different between using wax and without also. So I think everybody will use the wax.
We have Mattias Fredriksson.
Yes.
From Team Spirit, number 17. He will be doing his last season, one of the last races, because there's only one stop left on the ski classic. That's the final in Birkebeinerrennet.
Yeah, Mattias is doing the last season in the Norefjellet, and then he have his own competition in the middle of April in Åre, and maybe. So it's not so many races left for Mattias.
A tremendous skier, has done a lot for Swedish skiing.
Yeah, he has
won the World Cup.
Yeah, he's been in the top for 20 years. And always a fighter, and as you can see here, he's in the front, and he's always tough when he's uphill skiing. And I think we also have Espen Harald Bjerke here as number 3, and he's also really good uphill skier. Yeah. And with good results both in Norefjellet and in Birkebeiner before, so
yeah. And behind him we have Jörgen Brink as well.
Yeah, and then we have Anders Högberg also. He's skiing for a Norwegian team, but he's from Umeå.
Well, there are different dresses as well. We have the all-white dress from the Team Spirit. The black and yellow is Team United Bakeries. The white with the green in it is Team Extra Personnel. That's the 3 biggest teams. But this Team thing will definitely. That's something that is growing constantly all the time. Number 120 is in the lead.
Erik Kurland Olsen. I don't know so much about him, if I should tell you the truth. So sometimes when we are in Sweden in Vasaloppet, the Swedish skiers want to be in the front to show up the sponsors and so on, and maybe he want to do it here in Norway also.
Yeah, he's a local skier. He's from Lillehammer Ski Club. Team Birken is it called, so could imagine that he wants to be up in the front for the first kilometers or so.
A lot of great skiers in Norway, but I don't think we expect to see Erik Kurland Olsen to be in the top to the finish, but perhaps for this first part.
It was a really interesting start in 2007 of this race, where the race was cancelled due to extremely high winds, 90 kilometers per hour or 55 miles per hour if you want that. However, at the time of cancellation, the event had been underway for nearly an hour, with roughly a quarter of the 13,000 competitors already on course, and there were actually some of them make it to the finishing line.
Yes, I talked. Jerry Alin did the race that year, and I talked with him when they come up to Skramstad. Said for the first drinking, then there was people stopping them, and first they think they are juking, but then they go away a little bit more. Then it stands more functionaries say you need to stop. It's the race is cancelled. But I knew then some of the old Norwegian skier Erling Jevne, he open the rig. Backpack and take the clothes on, and he went over the fjell. But when it's so bad weather, it can be dangerous, and not only for the elite skiers, more for the people who make the race in 5, 6, 7 hours. So.
General views of Lillehammer, host of the Winter Olympics back in 1994, where Norway celebrated so many triumphs with particularly Björn Dale, but also Thomas Alsgaard as well. Alsgaard, who unfortunately will not be able to start here today. Yeah, but it's important that that you need to, when you go up on the fjell like you do here in the Birkebeinerrennet, then the backpack is a symbol of that 1-year-old king, but it's also important that you have some extra clothes with you.
If the weather changes, it could be really good, and especially for the amateurs or for the rest of the skiers. When you have been in the mountains in the spring, and you know how fast the weather can change.
Simen Östensen, one of the Team Extra Personnel skiers. Team Extra Personnel with Jörgen and Anders Aukland as front figures. They've been tremendous skiers over the years.
They've been in the top for many years, and Anders, of course, also as a traditional skier with World Championship medals, and they're still always one of the favorites in almost every race.
I would say that the Aukland brothers and Stanislav Reshak, they're always up there.
Yeah, there is some skiers who always make good race, and Reshak is especially one of them. Jürgen Aukland have been for this season, but he had 2 really bad seasons. Not really bad, but not the last seasons. And Anders Aukland is mostly also in the top. I remember one year when he was number 30 in Vasaloppet, and but otherwise normally he's as you say in the top. He has a high lowest level, or
yeah.
Some more
amateurs going away. Well, didn't you see United Bakeries dressed there?
Yes, they also have like a fan club, so you can be in the United Bakery and use. Here you come, one of them.
That's the Team United Bakeries skier.
in black and yellow.
And in fact, the first starting groups here is quite good skiers, many of them. So I think they do Birken about 3 hours or so, and then you're a quite good skier.
54 kilometers. There's approximately 50 kilometers left of those. With Simon Östensen in the lead.
And we have a quite compact leading group now.
Skier in black there, I think it's a bit hard to see the bed, but I think it was Chris-André Jespersen of Byåsen.
Yes.
13 kilometers uphill. It's quite warm, isn't it? With the
Seems to be
bare arms for Chris-André Jespersen. And no gloves on number 80, Andrew Musgrave, the British skier who actually was in the lead for a few kilometers of Vasaloppet.
Yeah, and he also was number 3 in the Norwegian championship when Thomas Alsgaard was number 4, but number 3 in the Norwegian championship. So that's a good, also good normal. And here we have the. I'm not sure if he took. He have been on the podium in the World Cup at. Chris Jespersen, but maybe a little bit better skating skier. And here we have Anders Södergren in a different racing suit as normal. He's competing for the team United Bakery this race. I know he's a good friend to Thomas Alsgaard, and they are working together in Östersund with Camp Södergren, the really good accommodation place for if you want to go to Östersund for training.
Been quite disciplined with the weight of the backpack this year as well. They will weigh it after the skis.
Yeah, I heard that this
line.
year they should be really tough to check that they have 3.5 kilo when they come to the finish, and also check some the things they need to have in the backpack.
Still waiting for the elite skiers to come up to the first sprint prize, which will be at 9 kilometers, and then it's another few kilometers before they're up on the fjell or high up on the mountains, and it can be quite windy up there. That will be really tough for them, Andreas.
Yeah, the wind is quite tough for skiing. It gets quite difficult to have a good technique when you have a lot of wind, especially from the side.
Although you're pushing hard uphill, you don't want to be alone up there, do you, in the lead?
No, when you come up, you want to be in a group. That's the best way to do it over the mountains, over the fjell.
Here we saw some quite good amateur skiers.
Andreas, do you think we have been able to check the wind, what it's looked like? Because it looked quite that it's quite low, but for those who have been skiing high up on the mountains, it can be dramatic shifts in the wind.
You are still in the forest, and I think when we come up a little bit more, it will be more wind when it's more open. But we will see. Now Anders is pushing really hard. I think here you see the group is not so big anymore, and it's.
That's Anders Södergren in the lead with Anders Myrland in second, and Team United Bakery is really pushing it here in the beginning.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be much wind today, but you never know. High up on the mountain, when they reach that part, it could always be some wind anyway. So, but hopefully not that much.
You don't want to have the wind against you, that's for sure. Anders Södergren, a real front skier, isn't he?
Yeah, he's always pushing really hard, and now I think he will do it again. And you saw last weekend in Holmenkollen 50 kilometer that he was in maybe the best shape for the whole season. So he take a lot of sprint points and tried to come to the World Cup final in Falun this weekend, but he missing some points, and then he decided to make Birkebeiner. I know Anders is liked this long distance, and it will be fun to see him. He's always really hard and really good in the uphills, and then we will see what happens in the flat part where it's much more double pulling, where maybe Anders is not his best part of the race.
We can see now that he's put on some high speed, and there are not many skiers who can follow Anders. The leading group is spread out.
Really spread out.
Yeah. It's quite...
So meanwhile, the long distance skiers competes here in Norway for the Birkebeinerrennet. There's a World Cup ending season in Sweden and Falun, but the ski classics will travel on for another few weeks before the final at Norefjell, 31st of March.
It's I think it's good because the skiing is really good in Mars, and the weather is always better, and when you have a sun, maybe cold nights and then sun in the day, it's fun to do skiing. So we can see that it was Team Birken who was number 2 and 3 and 4, so they have really prepared for this home event.
See, after them we have Mattias Fredriksson chasing the top 4.
Not far back, but no Anders Aukland, no Jörgen Aukland, no Stanislav Rezak, and no Jörgen Brink. Those names are the winners of the previous races this year. Stanislav Rezak won the Sällskapet Satska in January. Jörgen Aukland won the Marcialonga. Stanislav Rezak won the König Ludwiglauf in Germany. And then Jörgen Brink has won the 2 last races. The Tartu Marathon in Estonia and Jörgen and the Vasaloppet then over 90 kilometers. The record time there for Jörgen Brink at the Vasaloppet. He also became the oldest champion ever.
If you compare these races with Birkebeiner races, they are more flat, and you have you need to be a really good double puller if you should want that races. But here, especially in the front, in the start of the race, there is more, much more diagonal skiing, and here some of the traditional skiers are really good, and maybe we will see a group with the long distance skiers a little bit behind them, but then when we come up to the open parts, maybe they will with more a flatter part with more double pulling, maybe they will catch them up. It will be fun to see.
Yeah, we saw a tremendous catching up last year from Jörgen Brink. He caught almost a minute in 7 kilometers, wasn't it?
Yeah, from
downhill.
Downhill from Sjusjön, where it's like 14 kilometers to the finish. In 7-8 kilometers, it take a little bit more than 1 minute. So he had really good skis, and I think often this is so that Jörgen is a big tactiker, and he saved power to the end of the race. You saw it also last year in Vasaloppet when he catch them up, and then he have the much power in the end of the races. So
Jürgen Brink, who won his third straight Vasaloppet 2 weeks ago on Sunday, the 4th of March. How many are you that have won three Vasaloppets?
Three. That's Tunel, Jürgen, and me. And then we have 4 victories on Jan Ottosson and on Arthur Häggblad, and then 7 and 9 on Janne Stefansson, and then Mora Nisse. So, but we are still 3 who compete today who have 3 victories. So we will see if we will come to 4 or what.
You will aim for a 4th next year.
Yeah, I hope so. And then you can say also that Norway together have 3 victories. So
what's your best time of Vasaloppet?
I have 350 or something, but 2007 when I won I have 442. So you know, often people talk about what time they have on Vasaloppet, and now Jürgen won on 1 hour better than me, but I mean we was the winner, both of us.
Yeah. Of course. And rest, you have done a few Vasaloppet as well.
Yeah, and I raced the same race Oscar mentioned, where and that year was extremely amount of new snow, very slow race. So that time I had 5 hours 15 minutes, but the year before I had 4 hours 18 minutes. So it's quite a difference. It's about an hour, depending on the weather.
Here we can see the first sprint, and here we also see some of the
older skiers.
Skiers who.
The 60 years and over, isn't it?
I think for a woman it's 60 and for men it's 70.
All right. Well,
you know, in Norway they ski when they are really old.
That really is a mark of the tradition of the sport. So you're 70 years of age and you travel 54 kilometers without problem.
Exactly. As long as you can walk, you can ski in Norway.
Yeah. So the first sprint prize at Skrumstad, 9 kilometers. We have Anders Södergren in the lead, followed by 3 skiers from Team Birken, and then Mattias Fredriksson of Team Experience chasing them, trying desperately to catch up here. He's looking really good, Anders Södergren. Important for the amateur to get out of the way there. Partly of the scooter and also from the elite skiers.
I think we still have 2 kilometers to the sprint.
Yeah, you have 2 kilometers, but we will follow them, and perhaps there will be a Team Birken skier who will take the first prize.
We see Mattias Fredriksson in 5th position. He's not been able to really close the gap, but maybe now.
And then a black skier back there might be Stanislav Rezak then in 10th place or so, behind that leading group.
And we have
I'm not really sure. It can be Tony Levers also. It looks like the Swiss national suit.
Tony Levers of Switzerland, who competes for Team Experience, but normally wears that Swiss suit.
Yeah, and there is some problem with the national of Switzerland, so he can't go in our racing suit, but he's a member of the team. But I'm not 100% sure. We will see. And then it's one of the team extra personnel. Could it be maybe Anders Aukland?
Yes, it certainly looks like Anders Aukland on the way he skis anyway.
Yeah.
I think you're right, Oscar. I think it's Tony Levers, number 24, who's in 5th position right now.
Yeah, because Rezak is using the bib with a color on.
Yeah, he will race with the yellow bib, but I think I saw him behind that leading group. So before. That's definitely Tony Levers with number 24.
So we have 2 Team Experience skiers in the top 6. First group.
Yeah, that's really good. And
Good
then we
stuff.
have the Roger Djupvik and Espen Harald Bjerke.
And Bjerke, which you mentioned before, Oscar, is extremely strong uphill skier, so it's not that surprising that it's in the top.
But
No, they
but
call
it
him
has
the-
an interesting dilemma.
Yeah, they call him the oxygen man because he have made some really good tests, but then he also have a little bit problems with in the downhill because I'm not I don't know exactly what the problem is, but he can't see so well. And when it's difficult downhills, it's not good for him.
But a real mountain climber. Espen Harald Bjerke and Anders Södergren pushing it at the front. And they actually creating a gap again here.
Yeah. As soon as we have more uphill with diagonal skiing, we see these 4 skiers with led by Anders, who's always breaking away. So definitely the 4 strongest in the uphill parts.
And here you have the big difference between this race and the other races. You know, we have been in a big group of skiers, and some of them have a lot of power left. But here you need to go exactly everything what you have. Here you can see Franz Göring, the German national skier, and yeah, they are fighting today.
And that's quite interesting. We see some skiers here like Franz Göring, who competes in the traditional World Cup and used to a lot of uphill skiing, and but it's quite tough for them as well.
Yeah. I have knew it for many years, but maybe most of the people knew it after Northug's 10th place in Marcialonga, that the top of the elite skiers have long distance skiers have really high level, and it's not just to come from the normal traditional World Cup and try to be on the top.
No, definitely not. We saw Anna Haag going the Gals Vasaloppet, and he said, like, I'm used to skiing with my legs. And she said that the double polars are so strong in their upper body. So it's a way,
Yeah.
it's another way of skiing, isn't it?
Yeah, especially in that girls Vasan, because it's 30 kilometer just flat skiing, and
Yeah.
here you have. I must say that Birkebeiner is more. Now we come to the sprint here.
Yep. Here we have the sprint prize, and it will be captured by number 31 there, Morten Eide Pedersen of Team Birken, and then they really got to shine here then in front of the home crowd as well. Question is though if the Team Birken will be able to hold on to those 3 positions they have behind, together with Anders Södergren at the front.
And here comes Jürgen Brink, the big tactiker.
Jürgen Brink, Team United Bakeries.
Yeah, you never know
Just
what
behind
you'll do.
Göring, the German.
There we have another good Norway skier, Rennemo, and then Arne Postia. Masquerade, the Brit. The tracks looks quite good, but you see that it's not really a fast one.
Several skiers now from the elite group. See that? I think that was your Jürgen Aukland actually.
That was the Dammen, the young boy there. It's nearly 2 minutes. Now it will be tough for these skiers to come up to the top again.
Yeah.
But here we have a really big group.
There are a few more kilometers uphill from here before it flattens, and then we have another really dramatic uphill part from the next sprint prize up to Mittfjället.
We see Jörgen Aukland and Reshak is 2 minutes behind.
Jörgen Aukland and Reshak 2 minutes behind
Not
the
a very
leading
good
group.
start.
Well, will they actually be able to catch up?
It will be really tough. Then it must be a little bit wind and snow in the track, so it will be faster for the skiers after. Otherwise, it's a little bit too much, I think. But I remember one year when Jerry Ali won, he was nearly 1.5 minutes after here in Skramstadsätra, but then he had really good skis and in the flat part and in the downing. So, yeah, we will see.
Geraldine, who...
And there comes Martin Kukal, the world champion in 50 kilometer from 2003.
Geraldine not able to start here, just as Thomas Alsgaard, Anton Sjöholm, the young Swedish skier from Team Spirit,
And
as
then
well as Oscar Svärd, who's beside us here today.
And there you also saw Oddbjørn Hjelmes, that old Norwegian skier with a lot of world champions medals.
Yeah, he's won here as well.
Yeah, also a former winner.
And right after him we saw actually the man who you said, Oscar, was called Mr. Birkebeiner, Erling Jevne. He was just behind Oddbjørn, 3 minutes behind.
Erling Jevne, who has won here 7 times. He won 6 straight years from 1996 to 2001.
That's amazing. And I think the way he did it was that he went away from the other on this long first uphill, and then he ski alone over the mountain and won the race. And no one have skied so fast uphill. And then I have talked with the skiers like Frode Estil and Oddbjørn, and they couldn't follow him. He was amazing on that part.
Oddbjørn Hjelmes, who won here back in 2003. Fastest time is Stanislav Reshak's from 2008. 2 hours, 24 minutes, 33 seconds. Mattias Fredriksson, together with Göring and Florian Kostner, isn't it?
Yeah, the Italian
Italian
skiers.
They are 50 meters or so behind the leading group.
It's a little bit tough to be there now, but after this Skramstadsätra where the sprint is, you have near approximately 4 kilometers with more uphill, but that's not so steep. It's more like double pulling or with kick also. So it's still really tough up here, but as you see, they don't diagonal so much.
There's only been 11 non-Norway winners of this race, but it's just been one Norwegian victor here in the last 4 years. So perhaps that's the mark as well, that other countries are coming up as well. Last Norwegian winner was Anders Aukland here back in 2010.
Yes, and there we have Tony Levers. He looks strong. Now we come to the first girls here. I think it's Serena, the girlfriend for Tony Levers, and also Team Spirit.
Serena Boner, who
but she's second.
won here last year. She's the defending champion on the women's side.
And the girl
Boner is third, Confortola second, Staver is first on the
Tuva
first sprint prize.
Tuva Tofdal Staver. That's a Norwegian girl who I think it's the first Birkebeiner for her, but has done really good in the Scandinavian Cup and also in Norwegian Cup this season.
It's fun that because we need some more good women skiers. It will be make the Women Cup even more interesting.
And there we saw Lila Quilly, who was number 2 in Vasaloppet, and yeah, we're waiting for Susanne and Jenny, of course.
Yeah.
Susanne is a really strong double pulling skier from the girls' side, and
Here
here
we
comes
have
Jenny.
Jenny Hansson.
Santer.
And Susanne Nyström has had a tremendous season, but did so well in the girls' Vasaloppet, but then in the real Vasaloppet she had a slight tougher race, and
Susanne is when she's in good performance, she make amazing races, but then she can also make really good bad races. It's a little bit up and down for Susanne, and as you say, she had a really good season, but in Vasaloppet the shape was gone, and then she lost a lot of time, so I think she was nearly 50 minutes behind in Vasaloppet, and now we see she's
struggling here.
And she's a better in the double pulling races than when it's a lot of uphills.
Yeah.
And I think it's
That's a replay of the
and they was
sprint
number
prize.
1, 2 and 3 of Team Birken, so they took a lot of sprint points. And you see some of the skiers jump a little bit over the color, the mark, because if you ski on that, it can be on the skis, and they can be a little bit slower.
Morten Eide Pedersen first at 9 kilometers, followed by Roger Djupvik and Espen Harald Bjerke with Anders Södergren in 4th position.
As you can see here, there's a lot of Norwegian skiers, and it's normal when then it's in the home country. So
Yeah. American skier there, 36th position, Lars Flora.
you have
And then
the
we have like Jörgen Aukland there, 156 behind. Stanislav Reshak, 157 behind.
and also Richard Andreasson from Team Spirit.
Yeah.
Normally he's a little bit better when it's uphill, so we will see.
and Anders is perhaps making an other breakout attempt.
Anders is pushing really hard here, and he looks good. This looks like the normal sprint shape for Anders. In many years he has done amazing race in the end of the seasons when the other are tired, and Anders, he loves really skiing, and also in April when the other want to take it easy.
So 45 points for Team Birken at the first sprint prize. Here's the sprint standings. Stanislav Reshak in the lead there, followed by Jerry Alin and Anders Högberg.
Yeah, and as you can see, Stanislav has so many more points than the others, so he has already won the sprint competition. But now he will fight also. He is the leader of the big competition, or the yellow bib, and now he need to fight on if he should have some points today.
That's not settled. We need to say that, but the overall standings is not settled, because there could be, if Stanislav Reshak lost many points here, then there will be a tough battle at the last race.
Yeah, and especially Jürgen Brink is on the high up on the total, and
Reshak has
but Jürgen is in the fourth place, and he was quite high up here, and also Anders Aukland is number 6 in the total.
I think he has like 100 and here we have it. He has 140 points almost up to Jürgen Aukland in second.
But it's 200 points for a victory, and if Reshak will be out of the top 30, then he will take a lot of points. So I will see.
But we also saw Jürgen Aukland way back, so this might be something for Jürgen Brink to catch up before the Norrfjellrennet.
And Anders Aukland also, he's in the 6th position.
Yeah.
There, so. Now we can see that Anders have a quite big gap, and it's still this tough uphill, and then we will see what's happened when we come to more the flatter part of the race.
Yeah.
But Anders looks really strong today.
Anders Södergren will soon be above the tree line, the
Yeah.
famous tree line. And you said to us before, Oscar, that you don't want to be up alone up there, but that's definitely look like Anders Södergren is thinking otherwise.
Yeah, I think. I mean, if everybody's alone like this, then it's not so big different. But if you have one skier which is alone, and then you have a group with 5 or 10 skiers together, and they can work together in this open part, then I think it's much more better for them.
And the weather seems stable, so I think Anders will not have a problem with any wind and so on. So maybe he's trying to settle this race this early.
But remember, we have still the good part for Anders Södergren, and we will see what happens when you come to the double pulling part. So
Yeah, which is not his best strongest part.
so far the heart is the it's the hard ski race so far, but then we will see, and you know that Anders have a really good oxygen capacity. But it's good when it's no wind, and also when it's been some days with really warm. The snow is not flying around, and then it means that the track will be really good. If you come up here and if it's snowing or a lot of wind, then the snow will take the track away.
And we have Roger och Djupvik who caught up with Anders, so now they're two. That could be perhaps an advantage for Anders, getting some help from Roger Djupvik.
Yes, Roger done the 2 last year, some of the long distance races, and before that he was in the national team in Norway in traditional skiing. He was many times around like 15 in classic races in the World Cup, so it's a good skier.
What's the difference of going those 54, 60, 70 kilometers in the classic style compared to doing in freestyle?
Yeah, it's not so big different, but someone is good in skating and someone is better in classic, so it's most which kind of technique you like most. And when you have classic, you have some part where you can take it a little bit softer, but when you skate you always use the legs even if it's flat or so. When you are standing double pulling and just work with the overbody and not so much with the legs, then the pull goes down a little bit. But when you do skating, you still need to work the whole time. Now we see that Espen Harald Bjerke is a little bit tired. And then we have Anders Aukland high up.
Anders Aukland catching up. We know that he can double pole in the flat parts, so perhaps he was looking for a larger gap than he really got here under Södergren.
Yes, I mean you have 41 kilometers to finish. It's still a lot of skiing.
Going quite fast here downhill. It's an interesting end of the race as well. That there is a 7 kilometers from Sjusjön that really is downhill. Then it's flattened out a bit before they come to the goal in Lillehammer. But those 14 kilometers, a lot can happen there.
Yeah, if you have good skis there, then you can take time. And sometimes also for example, I don't know, but on the Södergren normally use quite much clister and quite much grip on the skis, and of course that it's when you go uphill you want to have it, but when it's more flat or more downhill, then it's better to have less clister on the skis. Here you can see a little bit different. Anders have a really tight backpack, and Roger Djupvik have a little bit bigger one.
Yeah, it should be better to have a little bit smaller one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the wind and so on, it's and also for the stability. I mean, they have the same stuff in the.
Yeah. What do they carry?
Yes, they carry they need to have a wind jacket. They need to have some underwear, something to drink, and some food. Maybe you use some bar or something like that, and then also some wax, kick wax or so. So you if you need to change it.
And it needs to be at least 3.5 kilos.
So if you take the lighted things, I mean really thin underwear and wind jacket and so on, then you need to put some kilos, also some
stone or something.
Yeah, some stones. It's also a little bit special with the Birkebeiner because it takes longer time to drive with the car from Arena to Lillehammer than for the elite skiers to go over the mountain. So it's like 2.5 hours to ski around, to go with car around, and it's the same time nearly with skis. So therefore it's also good to have some clothes in the backpack, so when you come to the finish you can take your race wet race clothes off, and then you take this on.
Well, the roads in Norway.
Yeah.
You have to go around the mountains all the time, so.
I know.
Taking over the lead now from Södergren is Roger Djupvik. Here we have the standings then for the overall table with Stanislav Reksa 720 points, followed by Jürgen Aukland 564, Jimmy Jonsson 550, Jürgen Brink 482 and Anders Aukland 422. And as you can see now, Stanislav Reksa expected to get 0 points here.
Yeah,
if that will be the same at the finishing line, we will have a very interesting final race here, Andreas.
Yeah, it will be perhaps much more exciting in Birkebeinerrennet in the final of Ski Classics. If we have more even standings at the top, but who knows? Reksa and Aukland might catch up later on this race.
And we also saw Jimmy Jonsson there on the top 5, and he's also ill, so it's not good for him and not good for the team.
I must say it's quite an effort by those older gentlemen to not being caught until now, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have raced.
Done a good.
Yeah, some. I remember one year that we don't catch up. It was a man who was 70 year. He was skiing in the 70-year-old class, and he started 1 hour before the elite skiers. But we don't catch him up to the finish. So some of them are really, really good.
Starting 1 hour before the elite group, and you almost made it to the finishing line at 70 years of age.
That's impressive. And Anders is now getting some help from Roger Adjupik, which I think is very good for Anders, and of course both of them. Be able to stay away from the chasing competitors.
But now you can see there are 3 back there. Is that Anders Aukland who come up together with them? Yeah.
Seems like they're closing in a little bit.
That's Bjerke, isn't it?
Yes.
Bjerke, Göring and Anders Aukland. It's an impressive landscape up here. It's Hannes Dotzler, the second German who was skiing together with Anders Aukland, not Göring.
No, I think Göring was in the group behind them, so it's interesting. I don't know so much about Hannes Dotzler, but he's also in the German national team. And then you have Anders Aukland there and Esperanza Bjerke, and if they 3 work together, maybe they can come up to the 2 in the top. So.
We know that when it comes to double polling, Anders Aukland is very strong, so it might be more easy for them to catch up with Anders.
Might just biding his time.
They have them in sight.
Now it's a little bit difficult to see which is the elite skiers and which is the amateurs. But there you have some big group with 5 skiers and so on. And here maybe you have the big group with Reshak and Jürgen and Aukland and them.
37.5 kilometers to the finishing line now for
there you have a big group
the
also.
leaders.
Sometimes when it's cloudy, it means that it's not become so warm in the middle of the day. When it's more blue sky and the sun comes, the temperature and the snow can be really, really wet. So it's good in the night when it's clear, because then the temperature is going down and the tracks gets frozen. But in Mars and so, when the sun comes up too much, it'll be really, really warm. So probably now the tracks will be similar most of the day.
Important to get some drinks here for the skiers. The elite skiers and the teams have, of course, more help along the tracks, but for the amateurs, those stations are really important to get some extra energy for what is to come.
That is also especially for the elite skiers just with Birkebeiner, because you can go with car to Skamstrasetra and to Sjusjön. That's the only 2 places where you can come with a car for us to get service. So in this race we have the waxers from our team. When they are ready with the test this morning in Skamstrasetra, they go over the mountain and make the race by themselves. So they are standing out on the mountain to serve the team.
We see that Djupvik has he's able to drink from the backpack as well. So
maybe he used some camel bag, and he have more than 3.5 kilos from the start, so he can drink that, and then when he come to the finish, it's away then.
Perhaps that's why he has that bigger rucksack as well.
Anders Stoster in the lead of the chasing group. As we said, a member of the German national team, but a new name in the long distance skiing and the ski classics. Doing a great race so far.
Yeah. And then we see that Harald Bjerke don't want to make any work anymore. He stays behind, and the two other need to work. So maybe it's because Roger Ajupek is in the front with Anders, and he wants to take it cool.
Yeah, we saw that a few races ago. I think it was the Jeselska Padesatska where there were a Team United Bakery skier who got a few 100 meters actually, and then we were surprised that it was a Team Extra Personnel, I think, and we were very surprised that Jerry Alin, who actually caught him up instead of slowing down the rest of the group. You remember that, Andreas?
Yeah, it's because it's a trade-off, of course. I mean, Jerry perhaps he felt very strong and he had a very good chance of winning. So it's difficult to really
how much
say.
do you think of the team actually?
I think it depends on which kind of skier you are, and someone thinks more about the team and someone thinks more about yourself, and it's not easy for me to say, but in Jeselska this year you saw in the end that Jürgen Aukland was in the front and Anders Aukland was second, and then Jürgen, he let him go away and he stopped up a little bit, and he gets a gap also the same in Vasaloppet. So the two brother Aukland really work in that way.
Yeah.
And we also last year when Jerry and I went away from both in Jeselska and Marcialonga, and we get a gap from the others, then no one from me team went up in the front. So it's also good for them if they just can go in that group, and if the group catch up the leaders, then they have a lot of power to the end also. So it's
of course.
Now we can see that they have catched him up here, and Espen Harald Bjerke is fighting, so he's struggling. So it was maybe because he was really tired, he don't want to work.
Yeah. So now it's Anders Södergren, it's Djupvik, it's Anders Aukland, and it's the German with
Hannes Dotzler.
Hannes Dotzler. We don't see his bib there because rolled up a bit, but he has number 99 on that one.
Yeah, 99, yeah.
And I will see what Anders do. Yeah, he wants to have some help. I think that's a good choice for Anders, maybe to get some help in this easier part and perhaps make a move in the next uphill part.
Now they are on the way up to Raulfjället, and I think it's nearly 2 kilometers still to Raulfjället, and then you have a lot of downhills in 7 kilometers to Kvarstad, where there also is the next sprint.
Yeah.
And then I think Anders Södergren have the big possibility to do something, because then it's 7 kilometers, a lot of uphill up to Mittfjället, the highest point of the race.
So perhaps Södergren is biding his time now to have the power from Kvarstad up to Mittfjället.
And now it will be interesting to see how fast this group are working. Now they are 5, and maybe no one wants to go 100%. And then here you can see Tony Levers and Italian skier Florian Kostner.
Yeah.
And now they are working really, really hard. And Tony looks strong.
Yeah.
Pushing very hard in the double poling.
But I guess if Anders Södergren would do something from Kvarstad to Mittfjället, he needs to have quite a large gap there.
Yeah, it depends. It's been quite difficult to see some big difference on the gliding of the skis so far. But and then the last 15 kilometers, then it started being a little bit warmer also. So then you don't know now how good the skis is in the end of the race. It's normally it's colder up on the mountains, and then when you come down closer to Lillehammer, which is the lower point, then
I wonder what happened to Mattias Fredriksson. He must have got really tired in the uphill section.
It's tough when you try, you work really hard, and you go maybe a little bit over the limit to follow the best, and if you do it too long, then you can go in the wall, or what you say.
Three winners so far this year. Rechak, Brink and Aukland of the 6 stops so far on the Ski Classic. Rechak is the overall leader. He's also the defending champion here, but he's way back. He was almost 2 minutes behind the leading group at the first sprint prize at 9 kilometers. So I'll have to wait to see what will happen here. It will be interesting to follow Jürgen Brink as well, who is in a tremendous form, obviously. We're winning the Tartu Marathon and the Vasaloppet. Raul Fjellet. Next point for ski is now approaching 20 kilometers.
Yes, I think we have it here. The highest point, and then it starts going down again. Now we'll see if some of them are fighting for the sprint.
Well, the sprint prize will be another 27 kilometers now, as in this quite massive downhill section. Where would could we check where Susanne Nyström, her position?
I just saw that in Skamstalsetra she was almost 5 minutes behind the leader Tuva Toftalstaver, as number 30 among the women.
So the leader, the overall leader among the women, was 5 minutes behind at the 9 kilometer mark, and the overall leader of the men was almost 2 minutes behind the leader. So it's not the usual race here.
No. For Stanislav, I think it's very strange, and for Susanne maybe I mean that not 5 minutes, but she have fight the whole season when the race is going up. You saw, for example, in Tartu where they have quite tough part of the race, and she lost about 30-40 seconds on Saraina when it was a lot of uphill. But then Susanne was so strong and so good shape that when it come to the flatter part, she catch them up.
Also Antonella Confortola, she was the second place after 9 kilometers, followed by Sarana Boner, just 27 seconds behind. And
then you had the two sisters, Linda, I think, from Norway there. They are sisters.
Yes, a great start to this race, and it's very dominated by Norwegian women here in Birkebeinerrennet today.
And there's a quintet pushing quite hard now. Looks like he has good skis there, Djupvik. No problem at all to follow Anders Södringen in this downhill part.
Yeah, here you can.
Anders Aukland needs a double pole there to follow.
Seems,
But I think you just push away the other before him. If you do this a little bit smart now, you can earn a time also in the downhill. If you go up very close to the man in front of you and give him a push, and then you double pulling a little bit, and you can speed up.
well, it seems like Anders has quite good glide. They didn't run into him that easy.
Will this be Södergren's race?
Yeah, this hasn't been his winter so far, so
I'm a little bit surprised that
Bjerke is back now.
he's coming up and
Fought
down.
his way back there. Espen Harald Bjerke.
But Anders have good skis, because you see the other one needs to go down really much to follow him, and Bjerke, he can't do it. So
And Bjerke, he needed to double pole.
it seems also that the German have quite good skis, but
So great skis today for Anders. Both good grip uphill and good glide downhill. And in great shape today. But I'm a little bit surprised that he wants to be in the top right now. But maybe he feels very strong. And he's the
Women's leader, Tuva Toftol Stave. Will it be a Norwegian victor here as well then, just like in Vasaloppet, where Vibeke Skofterud did an enormous race. She won in record time as well.
yeah, with I think more than 10 minutes.
Yeah. For Brink it was about a few seconds, and for Skofterud it was several minutes. Yeah.
So that's then you saw that she make a really good race, but also that maybe the winning time for the girls, the level have been going up for the girls in the long distance skiing a lot. It looks good when Tuva Toftal is skiing here, and it's always special for the girls, because the man, this race is not so, hey, here they need to go 100%, but in the other races when you have like a big group, some of the men have a lot of power and they don't need to go 100%, but the girls, they have always men to follow and try to be in a group. So we will see. I haven't seen Tuva Toftal in any really long races. I know she made some 30-kilometer races and also good, but this is nearly double so long. So.
And there must be something extra for the girls. You like Vibeke Skofterud as well. Normally she does no longer than 30 kilometers, and then she competes in Vasaloppet, which is 3 times that. Must be a different effort. Anders Aukland.
And is that
taking
so
over the
that
lead.
Tony Leversham catch them up there?
yeah.
And now Södergren seems to struggle a bit, doesn't he?
Yes.
Maybe Södergren have some drinking point, and then he lost some time because I know that Team United Bakery have a lot of people out on the mountain to serve them with drink.
Yeah, that must have been the case. But yeah, we saw earlier that Tony Livers looked very strong, and now he's caught up with the leading group.
Tremendous skier Anders Aukland with
What do you say, Oscar? Do you
39
think?
years of age.
Yeah, it's been in the top for very long time.
Winning gold
Yeah,
across
he-
the Olympics and the World Championships. He's won several long distance races as well.
He will be 40 this year. He's born
Yeah.
in 72, so he's the same age as Thomas Alsgaard. And many of the top athletes are old. Rezak is 1 year younger, and Brink is 38, and many of them is really old.
Anders Aukland, not just a skier, he is competing in athletics as well, former national champion in the 5,000 meters
Yeah.
and the 10,000 meters, as well as cross-country running. Finished 7th in the 5,000 meter at the 1991 European Junior Championship. So he has strong legs and big heart as well.
He's a really light skier also, like 67, 68 kilos. So, and that's also where I think he's a good runner.
Looking for his 3rd victory here. He's the last Norwegian to win as well. He won here in 2006
Ooh.
and 2010.
Ah, yeah,
What
now
happened
you
there?
see, now he crashed. Was that the German?
I think so. In that case, it's Hannes Dotzler.
Was it Hannes Dotzler that went down?
Seemed like that, and it was an amateur in
Yeah.
in the
Now what
track.
happened?
That was we was discussing before, that when
Yeah.
you come to this a little
Yeah.
bit dangerous part, and when it's really high speed, and if they are on the wrong side, and even if you see them and you try to go around, and they suddenly feel that, oh, I should move from the track, and
Yeah.
then they go in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I just hope that he don't crash any pools or anything like that, because when you do it up there on the mountain, then it's over.
Tony Leivers with good skis.
It looks good.
Will Tony Leivers be the man to beat today?
Oh,
And then you have Anders and Djupvik in the front. Yeah,
let's
here
see.
we can see it again.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
we saw that exactly what happened. The amateurs changed track, and they
And Aukland went on the outside there.
And Djupvik also. And then
Yeah.
But it looks like the pools is okay, and he can go away. So
yeah.
Anders Södergren also has some meters to catch up with.
I'm not sure that Anders is the best downhill
No.
skier of the group. So maybe when it's a lot of high speed and this tough course, then you will lose some time if you. So now we have Tony Leivers from Team Experience in the leading of the race. It's good. Then the waxers in our team have made a good work.
Yeah. But we saw it quite early that he looked like he was in fine form. He was really good in the up above the tree line.
Tony made Marcialonga last year, and he was number 6, and this year he was number 6 in Jizerska in Czech. Normally Tony is skiing in the Swedish national team, so but he really likes the long distance skiing, and yeah, he's together with Sarina Bonner, and here we can see the sister of Sarina out on the mountain for drinking, for help. No, wrong from me. Karina Modén is the girl in our team who want to serve them with drink. And they try to drink maybe every 5 to 7 kilometer. Here you have Matthias you was talking about.
Yeah. Always fighting very hard, Matthias Fredriksson.
He always looks like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course he do, but
And speaking of big hearts, the
yeah. There you have
fighting spirit,
The
of the
other-
team spirit.
Yeah, there you have Franz Göring and Morten Eide Pedersen, also Team Birken. Yes, it will be interesting to know how long they are from.
Göring is also skiing with his bib up roll, so it's not easy to pick them from a distance.
One skier we haven't seen on the anything of today is Johan Kjølstad, who was number 5 in Vasaloppet. Who I have read on the internet that he wants to make long distance skiing in the future. He's a sprinter and in the national team in Norway, but after he was number 10 last year in Vasaloppet and this year number 5, and now he wants to make long distance skiing instead.
And here we are at the second sprint prize down at 27 kilometers in Kvarstad. There's still some older skiers in front of the elite group.
And it's quite fun. We think we see more and more interest in long distance skiing. The more traditional skiers that make a new career as long distance skiers, and of course that's increases the competition in long distance skiing and the level, of course. And Ski Classics, I think, has made long distance skiing status has increased.
Yeah, definitely.
Much more interest in media and so on. It's a very positive development.
I think so too, and then also that some athletes are made for doing long training and long distance races, and some is more for sprint. You know, when you look at track and field, then you have marathon runners, and then they don't do sprint like you.
But it's also very interesting. We have been talking about that before as well, with that you need to that your body needs to grow, and you need to have like a certain age before you can go that far, and you'll be able to double pole and get the endurance that you need to do 90 kilometers or 70 kilometers. But now we see younger skiers coming up here as well. Like for example in the Team Spirit with Jimmy Jonsson, he's just 26. We also see the same development in long distance in athletics, as you said before, with the African runners. Don't even bother to go on the tracks. They go for the marathon immediately on the roads. And perhaps we will see the same development in skiing as well, that you quite early understand that long distance races is the one thing for you. It was like that for you, wasn't it, Oscar?
I was 23 years when I was number 2 in Vasaloppet 2000. So I mean, if you have the right body and if you train for that, then you can be it also when you are younger. But normally many try to be good in sprint or in traditional, and then they see, no, that's not my thing really, and then they go over to long distance skiing. But now with Ski Classic and with these teams, then I think many will do as you say, when they are junior they decide, oh, I want to do long distance skiing. I saw it already when I was junior. My absolutely best Swedish championship was in 30 kilometer when we was 20, and then I was number 5. That's my absolutely best position, and then I understand that long distance, when it's longer I do better than the other.
Yeah.
No, we have a lot of downhill here to Kvarstad and the sprint. And Tony
Levi is pushing hard for that sprint prize.
Yeah,
he wants to have
followed
that.
by the German Hannes Dötzler. So will it be Levis or Dötzler?
Tony is
Team
doing
Spirit or Switzerland or Germany? It's the Alpine
countries.
sprint here for the prize.
Come on, Tony.
He's really pushing it here, but will it
The German
They really
the
want to
German
have
looking
it.
really good, and the German will take it.
Oh
Yeah,
I think
Dötzler took it just 0.6 seconds ahead of Levis, with Aukland in third. Aukland didn't bother there, 5 seconds behind. That takes a lot of power from you as well to do those efforts, doesn't it, Oscar?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit too much power. Then
Yeah.
you also see that Florian Kostner, the Italian skier, has catch them up also. So now, and Anders lost quite much time down there. So,
Yeah, he has 5-6 seconds up to Auckland still.
but now I think Tony and Hannes will take it a little bit easy, and the other will come up to them, and then we will see what happens up to this midfjället. First there is 1-2 kilometer from here, which is not so steep, but then it's starting go up, and the last 2 kilometer up to midfjället, then it's tough again, really diagonal skiing.
Interesting to see now how far behind Jörgen Auckland and Stanislav Rezek are.
Here comes Matthias and Franz Göring.
They almost 1.5 minutes behind, and we don't see any sight of Rezek yet. Well, they are way back, Stanislav Rezek and Jörgen Auckland. So if not something very dramatic happens, this will be a 0-point competition for Rezek and Auckland. And where do we find?
But you also see that that's only Anders Auckland who is in the front of the leading, the top 5 in the total in Ski Classics. So, but we will see now. Now you see the time is quite long, and maybe this big group with Jörgen Auckland and Rezek and some other good double pulling skis have catched him up, and it will come maybe a big group now. You see, it's 2.5 minutes.
How far behind was Jürgen Brink at 9 kilometers? Here comes Brink.
Here comes Brink. And then you have 2:45, like it's...
He was...
So half a minute at 9 kilometers. Now it's 2.5 minutes. So
yeah. So it's lost 2 minutes on the leading group. And that's Jörgen Auckland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anders Host Möllman.
Yeah, behind him. Wasn't that Jörgen Auckland? This is Anders Host Möllman, and behind him.
Is that Kjetil Dammen? Or?
Yeah, it might be Kjetil Dammen. We'll see soon. But they're quite far behind.
Kjetil Dammen.
Milan and Dammen. Still no Jörgen Auckland.
Here comes Jens Eriksson, who was number 15 last weekend in the 50 kilometer in Holmenkollen in the 50 kilometer.
Yeah.
In the Swedish national team skier. More than 4 minutes behind after 27 kilometer.
Yeah. This race has certainly not developed as the rest of the races. Or the previous races. Perhaps, but
and Jörgen Auckland and Rezek, they have no good day.
Perhaps they have all retired.
There you have the sprinter Øystein Pettersen also.
No Rezek with 5 minutes behind the leading group. That's well.
Here comes Børenes, also really good sprinter.
Rezek was 2 minutes behind at 9 kilometers, and
there is Rezek.
There's Stanislav Rezek.
more than 5 minutes now.
Well, this isn't the Czech stay.
We know that Reshaki always wants to be close to the top in every race, so
Laugland there as well, 5:16 behind. Reshak 5:18 behind.
And Anders Högberg also had the
Anders Högberg has done a great season, but today not his best.
and here comes Rickard Andreasson from Team Spirit, and
Yeah.
also the leader in the young
Yeah,
competition.
the youth competition, yes.
Huge competition in the and there also in the back you can see Jörgen Aukland. Oh,
Andreasson 6 minutes behind.
Kallasen, yeah. So we have this. And there you have Jörgen Aukland,
Jörgen Aukland 6:21 behind. Well,
And here comes the old Björn Hjelmeset also.
old Björn Hjelmeset with his
Number 3 in this group here with the red hue.
And
characteristical way of skiing.
yeah, he's easy to spot.
Yeah.
His unique technique.
A lot of power.
Yeah, but
Not that much power today in his arms and his legs.
oh, he's had some not the best season, and then today's is one of the worst.
And now
races
we
for
are
him.
back in the front again.
And his dödsflö.
And is he tired or is he in the front before the other?
Yeah,
It looks like,
Looks like he's trying to catching someone, but
yeah.
that's the prize again. And the finish.
Whoa.
Wow. It's a few centimeters.
they wasted quite a lot of energy.
Yeah,
there.
they wasted
Mm.
perhaps too much energy
Yeah.
there, I would say.
Yeah, not optimal, I guess, for being first at the finish.
The team extra personnel is the leader in the team competition, and here the second skier for them is number 18. So Anders Aukland is in the leading group, and that's good for them. But they have not the number 2 is not so high up.
No. A lot of Norwegians there, but Stanislav Resak 5:18 behind. Wasn't he over 6 minutes behind? Was it 5:18?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Jörgen
Yeah.
Aukland was 6:21.
Yeah, oh, Jörgen Aukland, yeah. Sorry about that. Feeling at home when you see those pictures, Oscar?
Yeah, it looks a little bit like Vålådalen with the nice mountains and so on. But Norway is a beautiful country. Yeah, I really like the country.
Roger Djupvik.
Now they have make one of the quite tough uphill, and now it's a little bit down, and then they will go up the last 2 kilometers up to
Yeah,
Mittfjället.
and here we have like Dödsler, and then Anders Södergren behind him. And I wonder what happened in the front, because we haven't seen Anders Aukland. And we haven't seen Espen Harald Bjerke as well, so perhaps it's those two then who's
and Tony Levers also.
has
maybe.
creating a gap. Yeah, what happened to Tony Levers? Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of changes from that sprint standing if we look at the results from the second sprint prize here.
Now we are back, I think, in the front.
Espen Harald Bjerke
Anders
and Anders Aukland.
and Roger A. Djupvik.
Still at the top, and is it Anders who's the total leader at the moment? Seems like that.
Because now he is going really hard here.
Yeah, he's definitely pushing quite hard.
And you see they are fighting. Bjerke.
Yeah. Well, it will come a tough uphill path now for a few kilometers.
Let's see if Anders has some more powers now in the tough uphill part. Anders.
Maybe it's no good idea for Tony and Hannes to do that sprint competition.
Oh,
Especially not for Tony Livers, who lost it as well.
I think they have to pay for that now.
There we see Tony.
Yeah, perhaps they will be able to catch up then. Stanislav Rysak 5.5 minutes behind. Jürgen Aukland's over 6 minutes behind.
And if this standings would remain to the finish, we'll have Anders Aukland who will jump up in the total standings.
And Mattias Fredriksson. How far behind is he?
Last standings he was I think 1.5 minutes behind. So it will be very tough for Mattias, I think, to
90 seconds to catch for Mattias Fredriksson. Well, that's
But he still looks good. He's fighting, and he's now. It looked like he's alone. Then he was a little bit together with Franz Göring. We will see.
this can definitely be one of his parts.
Yeah, now you have
the
a
upper section.
tough uphill section up to Mittfjället, and it's still 22 kilometers to the finish. Now they are
it's
together.
Anders Aukland, it's Espen Harald Bjerke, it's Roger Djupvik, it's Anders Södergren, and it's Hannes Dötzler.
Jürgen Brink was 2.5 minutes behind.
Now we have
leading.
No, we have seen that Seraina Boner is.
Seraina Boner, the defending champion, will take the sprint prize in Kvarstad. Well, at least that's what we think, because I think she's first.
Yeah, you see Tova Tofdal. Tova Tofdal Staver, who is behind her.
Yeah.
So
Seraina
maybe
Boner has managed to pass the Norwegian.
maybe she have started a little bit too hard.
That's yeah.
Boner, but it's close behind those two. Behold,
together, and
perhaps
then
Staver can take Bonus back now.
Seraina has caught up exactly 1 minute to Tofdal Staver from 9 kilometers until 27 kilometers.
And there have been a little bit very much double pulling and a lot of downhill here to Kvarstad. And Tova Tofdal is a quite young skier, and as I told before, I don't think she did any long races before, so it's difficult to know how fast you can start the race. And now we have Jenny Hansson here.
Jenny Hansson as well, yeah.
On the way.
Yeah, and she's also done a stronger part here.
The Team Experience ladies has been doing so well this year.
Yeah, Susanne especially, and also Jenny, of course. Sarina had some quite big problems with the back in the start of the season, and also some problem with the stomach, so she missed Marcia Longa. But then since König Ludwiglau, Sarina started doing better and better, and now you see that she's maybe in the best performance for this season. And here Jenny, 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, and she was 1 minute behind Sarina Boner at 9 kilometers, and now she's 1.5, so she lost a half minute on Sarina Boner.
The Sarina Boner has done a good part over those 18 kilometers from
Here we can see
from the first sprint prize.
Looks strong, and
So Sarina Boner looking for her first victory of the year then.
yes, and you see that Tuva couldn't follow her
looks
at all.
very much in favor of Sarina Boner in this race.
Oh.
Made a fantastic season last year. The first season in long distance skiing, where she is quite dominant in many races.
And there you saw Tuva.
Quite crowded in the tracks.
And then also Santer and the two Italian girls, Santer and Confortola, have passed for her in the girl. But you see now there is a lot of skier.
Yeah, it's really crowded.
What
What was the men's time here?
the
So
men's
if we
time.
can compare a little bit the girls and the men in this race.
Let's see, the man Hannes Töster first at 1 hour and 20 minutes at
right.
Kvarstad, and the women is Sarina Boner.
1:34. It's like 14
1:34.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, Anders is in the top again.
Anders Södergren
Yeah, not
back in the lead,
not
followed by Djupvik, Espen Harald Bjerke and Anders Aukland.
And Tony and Hannes have lost a little bit
Yeah.
time, and also the Italian Kostner. So
Wonder why they did that. And actually they sprinted really hard for 700 meters.
Isn't that quite strange? I mean, they no chance of winning the sprint cup, and not
that's
it.
that I'm not really sure, but I think there is a sprint prize
Yeah.
from
also.
the Birkebeinerrennet in Kvarstad also.
Okay.
Yes, so that's me. They was fighting for that.
Yeah.
But is that Tony on the 5th place, just behind Anders? Then he has not lost too much time.
20 kilometers to go for Anders Södergren and the leading group.
Or
Guess that is Tony Levers,
or
isn't
the
it?
German.
Or the German, yeah. We'll have to get a wider picture to be certain of that. But
What do you think, Oscar? Do you think Anders will try?
I think Anders will
Yeah.
try really hard now.
Yeah.
Now he's doing maximum of his capacity. And he will go full speed up to Midfjället and try to go away from the other. And if he not go away, maybe make them as tired as possible for the
Yeah.
rest of the part. Now you see that it's so
Yeah.
steep, so you need to go.
And this is a very steep uphill. Yeah.
yeah, this is Anders Södergren's part. Now he will.
Oh.
Oh, now he's getting a little bit gap
Yeah.
to the other.
It's the standard tactics of Anders Södergren, just pushing as hard as possible uphill.
But now he need to do it, because
Exactly.
when they come up to the top of midfield, you have
And Djupvik looks tired.
Yeah, it seems to work.
And Anders Aukland is struggling really
Yeah.
hard back there as well.
Yeah, I guess the most important is to have a big gap down to Anders Aukland, which I think is the biggest threat in the last part for Anders Södergren. And Aukland seems to have toughest of the four.
they are very close, I think, to the highest point now, midfield.
I guess Anders would like to have it this way 20 kilometers more.
Yeah.
I prefer uphill for the last 20 kilometers.
Yeah. Yeah.
You see now they come to the highest point, and now it's starting going a little bit down. So now we will see.
Now it will be quite flat for until Sjusjön at 40 kilometers, and then it will be quite steep downhill for 7 kilometers. That's where Jürgen Brink caught almost 1 minute last year.
And now it will be interesting also to see the glide between the skiers, how good the skis is.
It will be very important for Anders to really be pushing hard downhill and not catching too much wind.
You see the difference here between the elite skiers and the amateurs,
Yeah.
in just the different with skis, the structure of the skis, and the gliding.
Yeah. It's a dramatic difference actually. And the way you handle the downhill parts as well.
Yeah,
The
of course
technique.
you go down and try to be as small as possible, and so here comes Anders and Bjerke. Yeah, this is like 10-12 seconds, but we will see.
I have a feeling that the gap is a little bit too small for Anders Södergren, but we'll see.
Yeah, it depends on how tired the other are, but I think, for example, Anders Aukland will try to work really hard now to get the gap as small as possible or catch them up, and
At least they can see each other at least. And he's being chased.
Yeah, but he has a gap of 50 meters or so now.
Yeah.
And I think actually it's growing.
as I think if they are like one-on-one skiing alone, then it will be tough for them. But if there can be the other can work together and be a small group and try to work like 30 seconds in the front and then go around like that, then they will catch him up.
You think Södergren will be able to find back to his fine form again on the World Cup season and be able to challenge for a spot and even medals in Sochi?
It's very difficult to say. Anders is a strong skier, but he have skiing for he have been a skier for 10 or 15 years ago before the mass start and so on. Then he could take medals. But the problem for Anders is that he don't have the sprint, and today there is just some normal individual races would start. Then you have all the mass start, and you had the
And the World Cup has, when it comes to mass starts, they have Petter Northug.
Yeah, Dario Colonia, and you have a lot of good sprinters.
Yeah.
And even if Anders tried to go really, really hard during the race, they are good enough to follow him, and then in the end they have something with Anders don't have. So
He's definitely created a quite large gap here under Södergren. But is it increasing or not? Djupvik's pushing hard to trying to catch up.
and they are coming. Anders is taking time on Södergren.
Yeah.
So I think soon they will catch Roger up, and then these three will work together, and then they will take Anders Södergren also. It's tough to be alone in the front, but it's also, if he is strong, he gets energy of being alone and have the possibility to win. So
we discussed it earlier that we didn't thought that Team Birken would be able to have two skiers in the front, but they actually do now, and it certainly looks like they will be able to challenge for medals as well. Sirena Boner, the women's leader, caught 1 minute from 9 kilometers to the second sprint prize at 27 kilometers on Tuva Tofdal Staver of Norway. And Sirena Boner looking for her first victory of the season. And she has, the gap between Sirena Boner and Staver has increased further after that sprint.
you see also in the Gans, Susanne Nyström is
10 minutes behind.
But you also saw Laila Kveli at Sara Svensson in team
Very far behind.
extra. They was really, they have not a good day.
And Djupvik,
Now you see they are nearly.
Auckland.
Yeah.
Now we soon come to Sjusjön.
And the other Team Birken skier has caught up Södergren.
And now we soon come to Sjusjön, and where they make, because of less of snow in Beitostølen, yes, they moved the first World Cup for this season to Sjusjön. So it's a really nice skiing area. I have been there sometimes for skiing, and it's really good. And also Carl-Johan Bergman, the biathlete, is living in Lillehammer and training in Sjusjön.
So Anders Södergren of Team United Bakeries. That's Djupvik and Espen Harald Bjerke of Team Birken. And Anders Auckland of Team Extra Personnel. That's the quartet who is leading this. The 74th edition of Birkebeinerrennet. Over 54 kilometers. Now it's very much downhill for the last 15 kilometers. And it's a double poling section before they come to the finishing line in Lillehammer. And Anders Auckland has certainly great memories from Lillehammer and the massive Norwegian successes from the Olympic Games there back in 1994.
You can also think now, still there is people in the starting area and waiting for start of the race. It's a little bit special. I mean, the first skiers have maybe 40 minutes to the finish, and they are still waiting there. Team Flugstad. Could it be Flugstad Östberg, the sprinter?
Almost 30,000 people lives in Lillehammer.
There they pass Sjusjön, and then it's 14 kilometers to the finish.
It's located in the Uppland county of Norway.
And this last 14 kilometers is really fast 14 kilometers. Really easy kilometers.
Well deserved those quite easy kilometers after that tough first section with 13 kilometers uphill. So
yeah, after all this climbing, they need to have a little bit easier part also.
I think Anders Aukland will be very hard to beat here.
No, he's trying to push hard, Anders.
No, Anders.
Yeah, and he's
Wow.
trying to get away now, Anders Aukland.
This is a real.
Djupvik trying to follow. And Aukland's getting a few meters immediately here. And Anders Södergren has some trouble following Djupvik and Aukland. Definitely Aukland is going for it here. Looking for his first victory of the season as well.
And you see here when the double pulling is going really fast, then have Anders Södergren problem. So, it will be tough.
Yeah. The only chance if they can help each other, the three of them, to catch up with Anders later. Are you surprised, Oscar, that Anders Aukland is trying this early?
It was quite early. I
Yeah.
think I thought he should wait a little bit, but because now if he will be alone and the other three can work together, then but maybe he felt that he had good skis and also that he was strong.
Yeah.
And I mean, Anders is a tactical skier, and on this tough part up to Mittfjället, maybe he don't ski for 100%. He take it a little bit easy to not get too much lactate in the muscles. And Anders Södergren did 110% up there, and maybe he was a little bit too tired when he come to the top of the hill.
And it's increasing.
Or perhaps the others were able to follow and feel that, well, we have the chance to catch him again. Didn't get the gap that he wanted, definitely so, I think.
Anders has some.
Now it looks good for the Aukland brother, Anders.
And the elite group still passing some amateurs. And those amateurs have done really well, I must say.
The short uphill part, and then downhill the rest.
Yes.
And now I think he's pushing again.
Yeah, maybe we saw the.
Trying.
Isn't the gap growing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anders Aukland is one of the most experienced long distance skiers, so I guess he knows exactly what he's doing, and feels his body and felt that it was the right time to go away.
How do you act tactically for a race like this, Oskar? Do you think that Anders Aukland has decided that I will make my move here quite early, or do you think that we'll wait and see how the race will develop, or do you think sometimes that I will really push it really hard in the beginning?
I think it's you never know exactly the feeling in the body, but when you have the feeling I feel strong today, or and Anders is a good climber also, then he went 100%. But today we never saw him in the front in the start, and then maybe he wants to take another tactic to save a little bit power and then have more power to the end of the race. And now I think he must feel that the skis was really, really good and that he have power, and then he want to try and see what happen if he go really hard. And maybe he was 20 seconds, 15-20 seconds after Anders on the highest in Midtfjellet, and when he felt that he quite easy could take the gap, then he wants to try. But now is the toughest part for Anders, to go alone. If they can don't stop losing more time, I mean, if it can be like 10-15 seconds and then they can be there, then it's tough for Anders. But if he always will get information now that he went away, now it's 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20, then I think the race is over.
Anders Aukland, who was 5th in the Justerska Padesatska, the first race, 20 seconds behind the winner Stanislav Rečak. He was 2nd in Marcialonga, 2 seconds then behind his brother Jürgen Aukland. 6th in the König Ludwig Lauf. He was 4th at the Tartu Marathon, where we saw Jürgen Brink win, and he was 3 seconds behind at 7th place in Vasaloppet.
Yeah, it's been a really good season for Anders, but he's missing the victory, and now it maybe will come today.
Yeah, definitely look for that victory, and a victory here, and no points for Rečak or his brother Aukland
and Jimmy.
His brother Jürgen and Jimmy. Then he will jump up several steps in the overall table ahead of the Norefjellrennet, and there will be a real battle there. And that's almost home soil for Anders Aukland as well. I think he will be one of the favorites for that race.
Yes. Last year he went away after 2-3 kilometers and went alone in 72 kilometers. That was an amazing race last winter from Anders, even if he was really tired in the end. But everybody was tired on that race. And now we will see this year they will make Norefjell not so tough as last year, a little bit more home race. Last year it was nearly 4 hours with this wet condition and a lot of uphill, so it was too tough last year. But now I think they will have.
Will they change the course as
well? They
will
change the course, yeah, and make a new better track. I think last year 50% of the starters didn't finish the race. So last year they had problem with the snow, and then they need to change the course. So, but now they are back to the real course what they should use. And Norefjell is a really nice place, and they will try to work hard for a good competition.
Double poling at almost 40 kilometers an hour now. Anders Aukland pushing it really hard here as he's trying to leave that trio of Espen Harald Bjerke, Roger Djupvik and Anders Södergren way behind him. Having a drink here for might be his last drink. Perhaps some coffee or something?
Yeah, some coffee or cola or some caffeine. I think maybe have one more drink point, like 6 kilometers from the finish, and then. But it's the most important is to drink in the start of the race, into the middle of the race, and then But today when it's warm, you also lost water.
He might even go for a record time here, I would say. The record time is 2 hours 24 minutes 33 seconds.
It will be a good time, but I don't think record time. But we will see. It will be a really fast time this year.
Last year 2:39, I guess.
That's one of the slowest in many years. That Stenzel Brescia's victory time last year.
That was really windy and new snow and bad weather, and it was not really bad conditions.
Sore legs now as well, of course. Important to be able to. It's going really fast here.
Yeah, you see that it's really fast. And here is dangerous when you come behind one of these amateurs or older skiers.
And how large is the gap now then?
Here we come.
That's Djupvik and that's Södergren, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh. 10 kilometers in 20 minutes. Yeah, maybe you will have a really good time.
I don't really think the record time is in his mind though, but that's a tough effort to stand on your legs in almost 60 kilometers an hour on the cross-country skis.
Yeah, it's a great feeling actually to ski in that kind of speed, and I think I guess the maximum speed is even higher. Could be 70 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, but that's really fast on thin skis.
Yes, but for the it's fast for everyone, but for the elite skiers, it's okay. I'm more scared about rest of the skiers when they come to this area when it's going so fast and they don't have the right techniques. When Rezek made the record time 2008, I was number 6 in the race. I was together with Thomas Alsgaard and Mattias Fredriksson. In this part where Anders is now, we was number 4, 5 and 6, but then I was falling and broke a pool and need to go 1.5 kilometer with one pool, and that is what can happen if you have unlucky to there is some amateur skiers on the way in the way, and you make wrong decision and go inside or outside, and he changed side, and then you can crash and then broke a pole. But now it seems that everything is good for Anders and rest of them.
Look at that power from Anders Aukland.
There we have them. Is that Djupvik who is number 2, or
I
is
think
this
it's Djupvik that is number 2. But look at that double poling from Anders Aukland.
He's strong now. I know Anders had some problems with illness during when König Ludwig after Marcialonga, and then he missed the König, and then she fight a little bit to find the right shape for Tartu and Vasaloppet. He did really good races, but I know Anders wants to be even higher up on the podium.
Always looking for the victory. He's the type of athlete that in every race he wants to win.
think most of the
Yeah.
top athletes want to win, but Anders is always fighting and trying to do as much as he can.
Or perhaps we could correct it and say that I think he's always feel that he has the ability to win every race.
Yeah, he's a both good double puller, and he's also good under climbing, and then he have the possibility in a different kind of courses. And I heard that Anders wants to try to go for the Olympic in Sochi, so he's 40 and he wants to do 2 more years.
Oh, he's aiming for the Olympics.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So we will see. I haven't talked with Anders now so much this winter because I have my problems with the stomach and so on. So, but I talked with our coach David Nilsson, and he had talked with Nils Marius Uttestad, the team chief for Team Extra, and then he said that Anders should go at least 2 more years.
We have some examples of older skiers who won world championship medals and so on. We have later on Marilio de Salt and Kirvesniemi and I think guys like that. So it's of course
I think Kirvesniemi use some other stuff and you don't know with the salt, but I think up to 40 it's if you are have any problem with illness and so on, and if you are motivated, up to 40 it's no problem, you can be really good. Now you see that they are tired.
Yeah, but remember Marilio de Salt's energy in the 50k races. It was the freestyle races preferably then.
The problem was that in the 80s I don't know so much, but in the beginning of 90 and the 90s that was so much other forbidden stuff they was using. You never knew exactly with that result during the 90s, but it's so. And he, as you say, he was he had a little bit like Johaug now when you compare the styling. Who was it behind these 3 skiers in Sjusjön? You have the split times there.
We had Dustler and Livers, and then Matthias Fredriksson actually 2 minutes behind them.
And was Matthias alone, or is it together?
Matthias, he has Morten Eide Pedersen just 7 seconds behind him, and also Florian Kostner. So there's at least 3, and then Jespersen as well.
And Jürgen
Brink actually. So if they could help each other, perhaps they could do something.
And Hannes and Tony Levers, they are number 5 and 6, and they are like 2 minutes, 1 minute behind, or?
Yes, they are about 1 minute behind in Sjusjön.
It's a good race for Tony once again, and an interesting competition from this Hannes Dotzler also. It's good that comes some German also in the long distance skiing. They are good in the traditional skiing, but we haven't seen them in any of the long distance skiing so far.
Five and a half kilometers left for Anders Aukland, who's in the lead. He has looked over his shoulders a few times now, looking where Djupvik and Södergren is, but still has that gap, and he definitely looks like the winner here today.
And the time will be really interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. 5 kilometers left now for Södergren, and he still has 14 minutes before the record time is done.
It should be
14
possible.
minutes for 5 kilometers. I don't think that will be impossible.
No, it will. I think it looks really good.
So will we have a new record time in Vasaloppet, and will we have a new record time in the Birkebeinerrennet as well? We got it in the Vasaloppet from Jürgen Brink.
And since we didn't get much sun today, it was cloudy, then the snow kept quite good shape, not too wet, so that's why going quite fast today.
And that's good for the elite skiers, but absolutely good for the rest of the
Yeah.
skiers also.
Still passing some amateurs here. Anders Aukland on his way down to Lillehammer.
And now it's Anders and the scooter.
How annoying do you think the scooter is when you've been up in the lead?
But sometimes it's better to have someone to ski with.
Yeah?
Now they have that's a virtual standing. Yeah, you see Anders is going up to the second place. Yeah, when you are there in the alone in the lead, I think it's something good to have the scooter. You have something to look at and something to see at.
And that's the virtual standings among the women. Jenny Hansen is taking over the lead from Susanne Nyström. And Serena Bonus climbs way up high if she can hold on to the victory here today.
And you see that Laila will lose some points, and also Sara Svensson.
If Serena Boner does a great race in Norefjell, we can have a triple in the total standings for Team Spirit.
Yeah, yeah, the girls have made a really good season, and it's fun also that Serena can have a victory. So that's Jenny who had second places the whole winter. So maybe it's Jenny in Norefjell, but I think the last year Serena was the winner of Norefjell, and that type of course is really good for Serena. She's quite thin, light athlete, so she's good when it's a lot of climbing. I think Susanne, with a lot of muscles and power, she's better in the.
Serena Bonner had some big troubles in the beginning of the season with injured shoulder or
back, and also in the summer she had problems with double pulling, and it's been a problem year for her. So it's really fun that she can come back and do this really good race. And now we'll see what happened in the front.
Now I'd like to see the finish here with Anders Aukland. Still with great powers in his arms and his upper body.
I don't see anyone behind him yet.
Just an old man. But you see here that the tracks is really fast, and they are, the scooter have problems to go as fast as Anders.
Anders Aukland's positions in this year's Ski Classics races. 5th in the Jizeska Padisatska, 2nd in Marcialonga, 2nd in König Ludwig Lauf, 4th in the Tartu Marathon, and 7th in the Vasaloppet. Now it's just 3 kilometers left for the big Norwegian, turning 40 later this year.
Big if you look at the results, that's small if you look at the weight.
Yeah.
I think nearly he's the thinnest, the lightest skier in the long distance elite part. It looks like Anders have really good skis today also, and of course he's strong, but still have power in the double pulling.
And as you saw, he had 17 seconds down to perhaps this Roger Djupvik, who is in the 2nd place.
And I can't imagine that Djupvik and Södergren will have the power to close that gap. So will be yet another Norwegian victory here at the Birkebeinerrennet.
Yeah, I wonder if he gets any information about the time that he has a chance of taking a new record.
Now you come, now the really flat area is over, and now you come to some small uphills here in the end, and it goes a little bit up and down, and then you come up into this amazing big stadium, Lillehammer. In
Ski Stadium hosting the Winter Olympics back in 1994.
Here it looks like the tracks is still a little bit frozen, so
Yeah. Cool. Seems to be fast.
Djupvik's in second. He has left Södergren behind him. So there will be a Team Birken skier way up high in this race.
it's fun for them, and it's a quite new team Birken, and without any big success so far this winter, so it's really good for the future.
Looking over his shoulder there, Aukland. Is he tired perhaps? 16 seconds is the gap down to Djupvik.
Djupvik has fought well. He has kept the gap quite stable for some time. Going for a clear second place.
But if that kilometer we see there, that if it's 1.3 kilometers to finish, then I think he will take the new record time.
Yeah. There's still some way to go though, and if he's tired, then it will be a tough last kilometer for Anders Aukland.
But now you have this uphill, and he's double pushing quite good. I think 16 seconds is a little bit too much to take. I mean, you have more than 5 minutes now than in 1 kilometer, so yeah, it will be a new record time this race also.
Is that the last amateur he will pass with 1 kilometer left?
Maybe.
So that's a 70-year-old man, at least.
Who make the race nearly in 3 hours and 25 minutes or something like that.
That's impressive.
Oh, watch out for the scooter.
Now you see the stadium of Lillehammer, the ski stadium. First he will go a little bit to the finish, or then he will go back again and make a small loop, and then he comes to the finish.
Anders Aukland going for the victory, going for a new record time as well. Double poling with full power here. The almost 40-year-old great Norwegian. He won here in 2006, he won here in 2010, and Anders Aukland will take his third victory here because he will be the champion of 2012 as well. And look at that great stadium of Lillehammer. It's Holmenkollen might be the heart of cross-country skiing in Norway, but Lillehammer is following there in second place, I would say. Anders Aukland.
And then when we discussed the national sport skiing in Norway, is that they have so much snow in that area in Oslo, and I think it's important. And if you compare with Stockholm, where we have most of the people, there is no good winter this winter.
And a few winters back now it's been quite good, but
here in Oslo, skiing is, you can do it directly after work. You can go out skiing in Holmenkollen in that area.
Anders Aukland on his way to the victory. He will take this race, his first victory of the season, his third here in Birkebeinerrennet, and he will win in a new record time as well. And the new record time is 2:21.26.
Nearly
3 minutes ahead of the previous best time, which was Stanislav Rechak's victory time in 2008. 2 hours 24:23.
And here comes Roger Djupvik. I think he's really happy.
Takes the second place.
And then have Bjerke passed Anders Södergren on the last kilometers in the double pulling part.
And all those 4 skiers are crossing the finishing line in Lillehammer ahead of Stanislav Rechak's previous record time as well. Anders Södergren takes 4th place.
Good race by Anders, but of course unfortunate that he didn't make it to the podium all the way.
Tremendous race by Aukland. And here comes Tony Leves, the best Team X Spirit skier today. Aukland of Team Extra Personnel took the victory, followed by 2 of the Team Birken skiers, Djupvik and Bjerke Södergren he's a new member of Team United Bakeries, and Tony Leves will be the best Team X Spirit skier today. He will take 5th place. I think he could have challenged Aukland actually. He looked really good if he didn't had that tough sprint.
I think they took too much energy for him, and also maybe he lost a bit up in the downhill, but Tony showed here that he's a good double pulling skier also, and I'm really impressed.
2 minutes behind is Tony Leves. And now it will be interesting to see how far of the women Susanna Bonner is, and how far behind she is from Aukland. How far behind was?
Here comes the Deutsch
Bonner
Hannes
at the second sprint. The 1:34 at 27 kilometers.
There comes the...
It was great. It was hard pace from the start, and it was a group. We were together, and I get a gap from Susan, and then it was just push hard.
And you beat the record with 3 minutes. What do you think about this?
It was a bit surprised, but to have a record here is great, so I'm really happy.
Last year you was losing at just a few meters at the finish. I think it's a little bit better feeling this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and had a hard race in Vasaloppet. I was not so happy with that race, so to finish here in with the first, it was great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So Jürgen Brink crossing the line there. Here he is in
and once
down parts of the picture. He's 3:19 behind Aukland today. Jürgen Brink, the 3-time winner of Vasaloppet.
And once again he's done a strong finish. He was 11th place in Sjusjön, and I think he's had has gone even a little bit faster than Anders Aukland in the last
and even
kilometers.
Brink made it the previous record time, I think.
And there come Mattias Fredriksson also and make a good Birkebeiner, number 9th place. I must say that this German Hannes Dotzler is very interesting, that we can have a German skier also in the long distance skiing, so it's good for the sport.
Definitely is.
How was the race?
It was great. The track was very good all the way, and it was a really nice day.
Second place, is it a little bit, you wanted to win, I guess?
Yeah, I always wanted to win, but this was like a victory for me. On the podium here, I'm really, really happy. It's great.
And have you started thinking about next year already?
Yeah, Birkebeinerrennet next year. I'm already thinking of it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Several skiers crossing the line, elite skiers as well as amateurs now, as we're waiting for Sirena Bona to come to Lillehammer as well. She will.
What was the split time for the girls in Sjusjön?
$1:34.
But that's not...
2:15 at Sjusjön, yeah.
20 minutes
20
behind.
minutes, yeah.
And there we have Jens Eriksson, the Swedish natural skier, in 13th place. And the Brit, Musgrave, 15.
15th for
Good
Andrew
race.
Musgrave.
Had a great season, Andrew Musgrave.
Maybe you're third.
Thank you very much.
And how was the race?
Oh, it was very nice. The tracks was really firm all the way, so and my skis were perfect. So it was a really good, nice race, and maybe the best race in the Birke race I participated in.
And you was faster than the last, the old record.
Yeah, that's real fun, but it's the result that counts for us. But and my third place is, I'm very satisfied with that.
But I guess you have, what's your future goal about Birkebeiner?
My future goal is to win next year. My goal is to win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Espen Harald Bjerke, who claimed third place here behind his team member Roger Djupvik, and the winner Anders Aukland of Team Extra Personnel.
And the sprinter is then Pettersen was number 21. We also once again saw that Jürgen Brink did a really good end of the race. He come up to 7th place, and it looks not so good in half of the race. And it takes point for the total in Ski Classic.
Roger Djupvik. And here, Anders Aukland's breakaway effort at Sjusjön. Got a few meters immediately, and then he held on to that gap. And in the end, at Lillehammer, he was 23 seconds ahead of Roger Djupvik and 34 seconds ahead of Bjerke in third place. Anders Aukland, 200 points here at Birkebeinerrennet, his first victory of the season. 200 points here for Aukland, who closed the gap, vastly closed the gap down to Stanislav Rečák.
There comes more of the Italian team. And there, Franz Göring, also the national skier, of 28th place.
I haven't seen Rečák yet, but
no. Not Jürgen Aukland either.
Reshak was 8 minutes behind in Shushan, so should be here soon, but he's lost even more time.
And then he's out top 30, and then he will not have any points this race.
So the number 1 and number 2 in the ski classics overall standing, Stanislav Reshak and Jürgen Aukland, are doing terrible efforts here actually. Not able to reach anywhere near their normal standards.
And then number 3, Jimmy, was ill and couldn't start. So it will be big changes, and especially then of course Anders Aukland take a lot of points, and also Jürgen Brink takes some points of the 7th place, and it will be more interesting for the end race, the final race in Norefjell.
Finally, Norefjell will be very interesting to follow. Final race is due to take place the 31st of March.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the flower ceremony for the men's Swiss Marathon Cup in Birkebeinerrennet 2012. På tredjeplass fra Lillehammer, Team Birken, og med tiden 2:22:09.
So now it's
on the podium then
Representing Lillehammer with a finishing time 2:22:09.
for this medal and the flowers ceremony. Espen Harald Bjerke, Team Birken, takes 3rd place. We didn't expect Team Birken to do this well, but with 2 men on the podium, they have done a tremendous race here. Bjerke beaten by 34 seconds by Anders Aukland. Roger Djupvik takes 2nd place, distanced by 23 seconds by the victor. But neither Bjerke or Djupvik could challenge Anders Aukland here today. Took the victory in the new record time, 2 hours, 21 minutes, 26 seconds. Anders Aukland taking his first victory of the season. He won here, as I said before, in 2006 and 2010. And now he's the victor yet again. Perfect race from start to finish by Anders Aukland. Broke away at Shushan with approximately 15 kilometers to go. And from there on, it was Anders Aukland all by himself.
Here comes the
And here comes Stanislav Reshak, a tired Stanislav Reshak. He must have had terrible skis today. Or is it
maybe
just tiredness?
or tired. He looks tired, I must say. You see it when he in the action. Of course, when he's not top 30, he's not fighting so much, but he looks really tired. And what I understand, it was really easy to get good grip today. So it was clister and universal clister, and then it's difficult to make so big mistakes. You know, he already lost so much time in the uphill. So I think that the shape is the problem. The main problem. Then you don't know about the skis, of course.
And great to see Hannes Dotzler there, the German national skier, taking 6 spots. And a Brit in 15th place there with Andrew Musgrave. Did well in the Vasaloppet, at least in the beginning of it. And now he's doing yet another good ski classics race here, Andrew Musgrave in 15th place. It's great to see that it's so many nations in the top 20 at least.
You see one other, Daniel Tined, had not a good day either. 36th place.
It's been have a strange season. Actually, only did one really good race, and that's Vasalop, but the rest is not very good
No.
this year.
No, really bad rest of it. It was
Yeah.
Vasaloppet when he was make a good race and tried to win Vasaloppet without any kickbacks and was number 2, but otherwise it's a really very bad season for Daniel. So
Here we follow Sirena Boner, the current leader of the women's race.
Do we know what the record time for women is?
We might have a sort of a record time. Yes, it's 2:52.04. It's Hilde Gjermundshaug Pedersen's victory time from 2008. That's the first time anyone here went under 3 hours. And
that was the same year as Stanislav Rezek took the man's record.
Yeah, it was the same time, and I
Yes,
guess we will have
15
a new
minutes.
record time here as well. Well, it's almost 4 kilometers for her to go, 3.5 anyway. And she has 15 minutes to do it. Yeah, well, it's possible. There should be yet another record time, a new record time on the women's side as well. And there will definitely be a second winner under 3 hours here among the women. And she, Sirena Boner, will be only the 5th non-Norwegian victor here at the Birkebeinerrennet. 40 kilometers, she was 2.5 minutes ahead of Tuva Toftoldstaver and 3 minutes ahead of Jenny Hansson. So
you see, Jenny have take quite much time on Tuva Tofta.
Yeah.
And now it's a lot of double pulling in the end of the race, so we will see.
But the 13 kilometers from the second sprint prize, Sirena Boner has really pushed away from Staver.
Yeah, but you also saw that Santer was together with Jenny. They was so the Italian skier girls have made a good end of the race also. So we will see. It will be interesting end of the girls race. When I look here, it's nearly 30 minutes between the winner time in the men's class and the girls class. Here is 2 old skiers, Björn Deli and Erling Jevne, the Mr. Birken.
Mr. Birken and Mr. Lillehammer, we will have to call Björn Deli.
Yes.
Who captured 3 golds here, I think, at the 1994 Winter Olympics. Or was it even 4? I think.
And Jevne has a very good time today.
Can you check the time for Erling Jevne?
We'll see here. What is exact time? He had a very good position early on in the race. And now we can see that Jevne is at 2 hours and 37 minutes on 64th place. Well, 15 minutes behind. He started off very strong, but lost some time in the later part of the race. But Erling Jevne is of course not training and competing on elite level.
6th victory here, Erling Jevne. And the standing stand for the ski classics. Stanislav Rezek still in the lead. 98 points ahead of Anders Aukland.
That means if Anders will win the next race, then Stanislav must be number 3.
So Anders Aukland will definitely go for the victory, and Stanislav Rezek will be there. This was a terrible race for him, but I think we can expect him to do really well at the Norrfjellrennet if he can find back to normal shape. That is, of course.
Og siste Ole Christian Mørk fra Six Sport.
Sprint standings, that's Stanislav Reshak. He's been having a tremendous season, although he did terrible here. The defending champion of the Birkebeinerrennet.
Now it's like 19 minutes since the men's comes to the finish, so the girls have not so long curve, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, 10 minutes maybe.
Take a look back at the start then of the 74th edition of Birkebeinerrennet. Record number of participants here, 14,750. So it's a very popular race. And it was a team Birken skier who took the first sprint prize. It was Morten Eide Pedersen. We didn't expect Team Birken to do that well, but they did hang on.
Yeah, this
especially then Roger Djupvik in second and Espen Harald Bjerke in third.
I think Harald Bjerke have been number 5 here in Birken before, and also in Norefjellet, so these races are a little bit similar. So, but Roger Djupvik also have done Birken before, but not so well, and this season haven't been so good for him. And here we see the sprint again, which maybe cost Tony and Hannes a little bit too much energy. I must have a talk with Tony here in the
Wonder what he
evening.
was thinking about pushing that hard, because he looked really well. I think if he didn't have done this, I think he might have been able to challenge Jens Aukland.
No, oh.
Sirina Boner. She is the current leader of the women's race, and she took the sprint prize, the second sprint prize as well. As we follow Anders Aukland's breakaway yet again then.
So the frequency and the power in each double pull. We will see what happened in the last part of the race for the girls here also. They're starting to get tired, and maybe some is losing energy and some is still a lot of power to the end.
Yeah, will Sirina Boner have a new record time, and the fight for the second place could be very interesting.
Yeah, Jenny and Natalie Sante was together, and Comfortola was 30 seconds behind them in Sjusjön, so
waiting for Sirina Boner here. Not be far before she will come. And here comes the scooter, and here comes Sirina Boner. The first non-Norwegian victor here was Anna-Maria Vijanma of Finland back in 2003. And the record time is Hilde Gjermundshaug Pedersen's 2:52.04 from 2008. She is aiming for the victory. She will take the victory here. Sirina Boner, will she do it in a new record time as well? Will she be she will be the 5th non-Norwegian victor.
in the women's class, Anita Moen Godon has won for 4 times, and that's the most winner of the race. It's interesting that a lot of the, traditional, really good Norwegian skier, they come to Birkebein and try to win it.
Yeah. Is that because it's 54 kilometers, you think? I think that's why many traditional skiers of this top elite in Sweden don't go to Vasaloppet, because it's 90 kilometers. That's too long.
A little bit too long and too much double pulling for them. And here you have more diagonal skiing, and then it's more similar to the normal. And if you are good at 30 or 50 kilometer in traditional skiing, then you can also do Birkebeiner good.
Erling Jevne, definitely the king of Birkebeinerrennet with 6 victories. Anita Moen Gudon with 4 victories. She is named the queen of this race. And Sirina Boner will take the victory here. She will be the 5th non-Norwegian victor of this race, and she will do it in a new record time as well. Definitely so. The previous record time is 2:52.04. Sirina Boner coming towards the finishing line here. We had a new record time of almost 3 minutes among the men. And it will be almost 5 minutes, the new record time for Sirina Boner. That's a tremendous effort from Sirina Boner as well, of Team Experit and Switzerland.
It's really strong work for Sirina.
Sirina Boner, 2:46.54.
And finally she take a victory this winter. Last winter, you know, she had a really good season and wins a lot of race, and now she's back on the highest up on the podium. I think it's good for Sirina and for the future.
Yeah, and for Team Experit, who takes another victory among the women. They just dropped one race, and that's the Vasaloppet to Vivek Skopterud, isn't it?
Thank you.
You beat the record with more than 5 minutes. What do you think about this?
Oh wow, I did not know. Must have been fast conditions. I felt really tired at the end, but it's a tough race, and now I'm really happy that I won.
When did you understand that you would win?
Not until the end. It's over at the finish line, so I didn't know where the other girls are really. I knew I'm in front, but they could have been just behind, so you just know that you win when you're in the finish.
And you will do the same next year?
I hope so. I mean, it's always great to win, so you want to do that again and again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Here we can see Santer. Stephanie Santer. Maybe she has passed both Tuva and Jenny. We don't know, but she was number 4 up in Sjusjön.
Where is Jenny Hansson and Tuva Stoppdahl Staver? Seems to be behind.
Stephanie Santer heading towards the finishing line here in Lillehammer.
She's skiing with an Italian man skier on the side.
Seems to be Italian tradition.
Yeah.
It's have happened before. In the Vasaloppet some years ago, there was a big discussion about that. And they don't only ski to LA. This maybe helped a little bit too much, but yes, it seems that she will be number 2. Then she have skied really good up from Sjusjön, or down from Sjusjön.
And Santer will break the previous record time as well, although she is distanced by Boner by 3 minutes or so.
Strong finish by Stephanie Santer. And
strong finish.
She has been a little bit faster than Sirina from Sjusjön.
That's right.
Really, really good end of the race, and probably good skis. And here comes Jenny, and she will be on the podium.
So 2 Team Experience skiers on the podium, Serena Boner and Jenny Hansson.
And the young girl Tuva Toftal Staver have lost the power in the end of the race.
Yeah, looked really good in the beginning of the race, but we can also say that Susanne Nyström has yet another not very good race.
It was my first time that I did Birkebeiner, and I liked it a lot. Thank you. Thanks. I'm happy.
First time and second place, that's not bad.
No, first and second place, and I think I have this still. I'm the leader of the FIS Marathon Cup. I think so. I hope.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Jenny Hansson in 3rd place.
How do you feel after 56 kilometers?
I'm really tired. I had a really tough last 20 kilometers, but I'm satisfied. It's a podium place, so it's great.
And when did you understand that you couldn't be the winner this time?
You never know, I didn't get any times of the people ahead of me, so I didn't know. I just did my best the whole way, so yeah.
And you go for next year?
Yeah, it's to get the victory.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Jenny Hansson, defending champion,
And
won here last year, and this year she had to settle for the bronze.
And then Comfortola number 4 and Tuva lost to the 5th place in the end of the race.
Yeah.
She's lying down there on the snow.
Oh,
Really tired, Staver.
she had a tremendous start. She was over 1 minute ahead of the rest at 9 kilometers, but then she had a tough race on the rest.
Following Jenny Hansson again then in her later part of the race, where she finally took 3rd place. Santa of Italy took 2nd place, but no one of them was even near the great Serena Boner today, who competed in a league of her own, winning this race in a new record time as well. Broke the previous record by Hilde Gjermundstad Pedersen by over 5 minutes. The new record time of the Birkebeinerrennet is 2 hours, 46 minutes, 54 seconds.
And I think it will be tough for the other girls to beat Serena in the Nurefjell in the end. Now I think she's in good performance, and last year she won that race, and yeah, I think it will be tough for them. Here we have a tired Tuva.
It's really tired. Crying as well, perhaps due to tiredness. Youth leader among the women,
Laila Kveli, who is defending the Arlene family color this day. 1.5 years ago she was mother to a child, and come back this winter and did it really good. Some really good results, and with the 2nd place in Vasaloppet, that's the biggest.
Great performance, really. I hope we'll see more younger women competing in the Ski Classic long distance tour in the future.
Yeah, now like a girl like Tuva try, and I hope it will become more of the younger girls who want to try. For them, it's tough to do races from 2.5 to 4.5 hour or something like that. It's much more longer than was normal. You know, girls make 5 or 10 or sometimes 15 kilometer, and nowadays most 10-kilometer races is like 25 minutes, 30 minutes or something like that. It's a big difference for them to go up to do these long distance races. And
Yeah, definitely.
and also it's only Team Spirit to really make good support for the girls also. Some of the other team, even for a good skier as Laila, they need to bring their own drink on the normal stations and so on in Team Extra. So I think it will be good even if the other big teams try to take some girls in the team, and for the girls, of course.
Yeah, and
It would be interesting to see a skier like Marit Björgen in this race, because she's not that strong in the uphill sections, and this is a really tough uphill section in the first part.
Yeah. But I mean, if you compare with this girl, she's really strong in the uphill. So I think every race up to races around 50-60 kilometer, I'm really sure that Marit and some of the other top girls will do really well. But Kowalczyk, of course, Johaug, Kalla and so on. But when you come to Vasaloppet, it's really special. Then you're not 100% sure that the girl, even the absolutely best girl, should do.
She won it last year, Jenny Hansson. This year she will take third place, 3 minutes 33 seconds behind her teammate of Switzerland, Sirena Boner. 28 seconds ahead of Jenny Hansson, we find Stefanie Sante of Italy. But best of them all among the women was, of course, Sirena Boner, taking the victory here in the new record time, 2 hours, 46 minutes, 54 seconds. Sirena Boner. No one was even near her today, taking the first victory of the season. And Team Spirit has just dropped one top spot on this year's ski classic, and that was the Vasaloppet to Vibeke Skofterud.
Congratulations, guys. So it's time for a couple pictures. Flowers in one hand, and I want to
The first race in Jizerska won Sara Svensson also. So they lost that race also, but otherwise you have totally right. Oh, someone losing a pool. Yes,
well, it's been a great race to follow. We have had record times both on the men's and the women's side. Anders Aukland took the victory among the men, 2 hours, 21 minutes, 26 minutes. Ahead of Djupvik and Bjerke, and among the women we saw Sirena Boner taking the win ahead of Stefanie Sante and Jenny Hansson.
Vi også Svein Lie, riktig velkommen til Birkebeiner skistadion. Svein Lie altså en veteran i gamet, har deltatt 46 ganger tidligere.
And with those pictures of the beautiful city of Lillehammer, we say thank you and goodbye. We'll be back for the final, the Norefjellrennet, the 31st of March. Don't miss that for a second. 31st of March, the Norefjellrennet, the last race of the 2012 ski classic season. There will be a tough battle there between Stanislav Reszak and Anders Aukland. Thank you, Oskar Svärd. Looking forward to the next season, I hope.
Yes, thank you very much. It will be fun to be here today and see the other, and for the future I will be in the track.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you.
4:31. Meget sterk tid på Kjell Ove Seim der altså.
Ja, da står jeg her med vinneren av kvinner, nemlig Serena Bonner. Gratulerer.
Thank you very much.
New record, 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's really great. I just found out. I mean, during the race, you're just fighting and giving your best, and you don't care about your time. You just try to be first at the finish line, and that is a new record. It must have been a good race then.
Tell me about your race, you say.
Well, it was actually really tough from the first meter. I had a hard time, but I just tried to do my best, and I passed, I think I was second or fourth though in the beginning. Then I passed one after another and could make it up to first and to the finish, so that's really great.
What's the difference between Vasaloppet and the Birkebeinerrennet race? Because you had the third place in Vasaloppet.
Yeah, that's right. I actually had a harder time here. It went pretty well in Vasaloppet. I had a bad start there and I could not make up more time, but it's much more uphill here, so you really have to fight and work all the time. So it's a tough race. My body was cramping me everywhere at the end, but you could try your best.
Thank you, Serena. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Velkommen og gratulerer til alle som har vært ute og gått på skidag. Dere kan være fornøyd med dere selv. Dere har kommet over fjellet. Dere på Lillehammer for de som måtte lure. Det bare et par meter igjen gjennom slusene, så skal vi hjelpe dere med sekker og med timing-tippen deres. Og så det mat og drikke som står klart til dere. Så det busser som tar dere ned til Håkonsdal, hvor dere finner busser med mat, tider, premiering og det dere måtte begjære. Information for our international guests. Congratulations to our participants who completed Birkebeinerrennet 2012. The next couple of years after you're crossing the finish line, we will check your backpack and collect your timing sheet. Food and liquid is available for your convenience. Our buses will transport you to Håkonsdal, where you will find showers, luggage, diplomas, prize ceremonies, and finishing times. Thank you for participating in this year's event, and we hope to see you next year as well. For more information, see birkebeiner.no. Så kan jeg legge til at for de som venter på noen kjære her i målområdet, så det veldig mye mennesker som kommer til å gå over mål i dag, 16.000, så vi kommer ikke til å få med oss alle. Men hvis du ønsker tider, passeringstider og slutter i mål på noen du venter på, så kan du ta fram din mobil, skrive Birken etter sluttet av startnummeret og sende det til 1980. Da får du passeringstider og slutter i mål tilbake. Eller så kan du laste ned Birken-appen til din telefon og legge inn så mange startnummer du måtte begjære for å få tilbake. Og så må du gå med den over fjellet. Alle tider også på birkebeiner.no og i Håkonsdal. Gratulerer til alle som kommer i mål. Da har vi en unggutt på vei mot mål. Start nummer 2663 Mattis Stenshagen fra Gausdal, som går i 16-åringene. Han kommer til å få en beste til her i det han går inn i mål i klassen sin. Fikk vi også Katarina Mo Berge inn i mål. Har foreløpig beste tid i kvinner 65 år med tiden 3:58.02. senior, Katarina Moberge fra Podium, 3.58. Men 55 til 59 år, Kjell Overstein fra Rørdal, 2.54 beste tid der så langt. Kvinner 25 til 20 år, Martin Modran Hansen fra Heving, 2.54,35. Men 60 til 64 år, Erik Hansen fra Sørøvål, 2.52,39. Kvinner 20 til 24 år, Tuva Toftdal Skader, 2.52,10. Og kvinner 35 til 39 år, Antonella Carzola fra Italia, 2.51,37. Det de siste klassene som har kommet til nå, og gjeldende beste tider. Og Kjell Vatne, Norges Bank sidesalg 3.01,55 og siste 2 Elvestad fra Sula 4.06,37.